What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today is a really exciting day for me. I've been waiting for these in the mail for a few days now, and they're finally here. These were provided to me for review by one of my favorite skate companies, and to be fully transparent, they were provided for review, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm just gonna give you 100% my opinion on these. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this at all, so yeah, let's tear into this box and check out what we got. Put this little guy away so I don't cut myself. These are the Roces EGO 3x110 TIF skates. I've been super excited to try some of Roces urban skates out, or they call them freestyle skates. I have not been on any Roces skates other than my M12s, so just really excited to see what they have in store for the fitness, urban, freestyle genre of skates. Let's get this box out of the way and just kind of go through the skate for you. From first look, they look pretty freaking wicked. I really dig the look of these. The first thing I want to talk about is the actual hard shell boot. It is a full hard shell boot, very, very rigid. The boot has tons of ventilation all over the place, so really great boot for those long distance cruises, keeping those feet nice and cool, or letting that heat from your feet vent out. Don't know if you can see it, but right in there in the toes and right kind of underneath the middle wheel here, there is, trying to look at right there, right in this area, there's like 2 inlets as well for some ventilation. This boot's got vents all up and down it, which I really like. On the boot, there's a obviously replaceable slider right here. Always nice to have on an urban skate. The next thing is the buckles. As you can hear, it has a nice spring in that buckle. The buckle is plastic. Would like to see metal on there, but you know, it's a way of cutting costs for sure. The only thing I noticed is this doesn't have any kind of locking, so it worries me a little bit that if that spring mechanism in here wears out over time, this might get to this position while you're skating instead of staying back. Haven't skated these yet and haven't had them for long enough to know if that's going to wear out and be an issue, but it would be nice to have a little bit of a locking mechanism up here. On the other side, right here, they have a nice little release point. Pull out the buckle, and it has, like a lot of other boots, in the cuff the buckle actually goes away, so looks nice, keeps it out of the way of getting caught on the little tail of the buckle. It's all inside the cuff, which is really nice to have. Let's move down the boot onto the 45-degree strap. So happy this has a 45-degree strap, because most urban skates do nowadays. I mean, we're even starting to see them in aggressive skates, and I think that's one of the most important new features on skates is the 45-degree strap. So the 45-degree strap, looks like the housing, or the outside part of it, is actually plastic as well. The actual mechanism lever is full metal, which is nice. It would have been nice just the whole thing to be a metal piece, but then again, I don't know if that's really a big issue, to be honest. The way this one works is it's a ratchet system, kind of like a snowboard boot or like the twister boot. All you're doing is just pulling it back, and ooh, that's a satisfying click. That's so satisfying to me. It took me a couple seconds how to loosen this up, and what you do is there's this kind of U shape right here on it, and you got to push down both sides for it to release. I think it works. I think it would have been nice to complete the U and have more of a tab to push down, so you don't have to push both sides down with 2 fingers. They're very narrow areas to actually push on with those fingers and then pull with your 3rd finger. Not sure if I'm super down with that design, but as long as it keeps my feet in the skate, I'm not too worried about it. Let's keep moving down. Third thing to keep that foot in the skate are the laces. And the eyelets look solid, metal rivets, pretty standard. The laces are your standard round laces, kind of that come with pretty much any skate stock nowadays. I would again recommend replacing those laces, but not super important because those aren't really doing that much work to hold your foot in. It's these 2 straps that are holding your foot in. So, it's more of a looks thing, in my opinion, nowadays, when you have a 45 and a normal strap on your skate. The cuff does have a low cut, so as you can see right here, it goes down and around, and the liner follows that same shape. This low cut shape, pretty standard on a lot of skates nowadays. what it does is allows you, if you're say doing slalom or more kind of urban, it just gives you more maneuverability, so you can kind of point that toe and the leg can come backwards out of the skate more. Just allows a little more maneuverability within for your leg. Let's go down from the boot we've covered. Let's roll straight down to this frame. This is a aluminum extruded frame. I'm a huge fan of extruded aluminum frames. The power transfer is absolutely amazing. So yeah, they call this the two arch design for the frame. I believe that's because it kind of has an arch here and then an arch here. I just call it the bat wing because it literally looks like a bat straight up. The kind of fun thing they did, I don't know, it's a little not necessary, but it looks cool, is this optical illusion that they've painted on the color of the wheel on the frame. So from far away as you're rolling by, you might not even see the frame, to be honest, which is kind of fun. The thing when it falls apart is you can't put any other color wheels on the skate then. You have to always buy black wheels or else the illusion kind of falls apart. The frames to me look super, super solid. Really excited to see if there's any real difference between these frames and the Twister 3x110 frames. The frames have race axles. Every aluminum frame does, which means you only have to use one Allen key to actually take the wheels off, which is super, super nice. I love it. The frame wheelbase length is 243. I believe that's right in line with my Twisters. And yeah, that's the frames. Let's jump on down to the wheels now. So these wheels are the Roces 110mm 85A durometer. Pretty typical urban or free skate wheel. You can't judge a wheel based on its size and durometer. You really have to judge it on the urethane and the way the urethane's poured, as well as the core and how the core is constructed into this urethane area. I have to get on these wheels to really tell if they're good or not. The bearings in these wheels, they are ABEC 11s. I'm hoping when I get some weight behind this and pushing, they feel just as smooth. My twin cam ABEC 9s on my Twister skates. The only last thing we really need to talk about is the liner, so let's get that out right now. All right, so we got the liner out. Let's take a look. As I said before, we have that V cut in the back here, so it cuts down, which is really nice for maneuverability. We have a nice big strap to carry your skates with. That's a must on all skates in my opinion nowadays. You definitely never want to pull your skates on with this strap. You will rip this strap from the liners, so just a pro tip, always stomp into the skate rather than pull from the base of your skate, like your sole plates or something, than pulling on the strap in the back to push your heel into the boot. The material looks, yeah, pretty good. Down in the toe box area, there's a little bit of neoprene here. I can get down in here, show you here. A little bit of neoprene there in that toe box area. Gives your feet a little bit of wiggle room. Your toes aren't gonna be scrunched together. You can your toes can kind of go where they want to go and kind of, sit in there comfortably. We got the 45-degree elastic band, which holds in that tongue nicely. Pretty standard. The tongue itself, it might have been compressed for a while, but it looks like it's not too supportive or stiff. So not the greatest tongue in the world, but it does have some nice padding in it. I do like the feeling of this padding, at least at the top of the boot, like the first, no, it goes all the way down in the, almost all the way down, right about to here. Like all this area in the liner has some really thick, like probably about that thick. Yeah, some really nice, thick, heavy duty. It feels like it could be like a memory style foam, but I'm not sure. On the bottom of the liner, there's kind of like a diamond design. It's like a plastic. I'm a little worried that if this liner doesn't fit in that boot perfectly, that plastic stuff, you're gonna be able to slip and slide in the boot. I'm gonna try it without, but in the future, what I might do is and tell you guys to do if you get these is to basically put hot glue gun, just put a couple things. I think them skates did that with the new Intuition them liners. They put them back here and I think on the bottom too. So just put some hot glue gun dots all over it and that'll give you that nice grip so your liner's not gonna go anywhere and your skate will be locked. All right, put that over there. So Here's the Roces liner. There's your little badge for Roces authenticity. Yes, Roces authentication, because I guess there have been people trying to create off-brand Roces skates and sell them. The insole really isn't much to talk about, but I would like to see a little more in the heel. It's just completely flat. It's literally the same exact thickness all the way through, except for the toe has a little bit extra for some reason. And I wish there was a little more arch to it. It's just these are so flat. I would recommend grabbing some nicer insoles if you pick these up. You know, and that's nothing against these skates. I would say 80% of the skates I ride, I put a different insole in anyways, just to fit my foot better and just have a more comfortable ride. Insoles and laces are the first thing that go in brand new skates for me. So those are the liners and insoles. The last thing I was going to talk about is the shock absorber in this boot. I think all skates need a shock absorber. It saves your heels, saves your spine, saves your knees, saves everything. Even if it's just a small one, it really does help. Right here you can kind of see it, that little long triangle area. And there it is. There is your shock absorber. Basically about the same, I would say the same thickness as many other shock absorbers that I've seen. The difference with this one that I haven't really seen yet is on the bottom bullseye design, target design. Again, these are brand new skates from Roces. Super excited to get them on my feet and just give them a spin. So let's put them back together and let's get out there and skate. So, one thing I will say real quick, these skates don't fit my foot perfectly. So everything from like my heel up to my leg is locked in, but everything forefoot wise is a little too wide and a little too long. So I just feel like there isn't enough hugging my foot everywhere. And mix that with the 110s, which is not reassuring for doing like 180s and, you know, just the little foot maneuvers. Anyway, just want to let you know that's what I'm going through right now, but we'll keep pushing on. Let's go. Quick note, I think this pandemic has made people pull out the rollerblades again, because I've seen more people on blades than I've seen in the whole last year in the wild. It's kind of an awesome thing. So, what do I think about these skates? And are they the best budget 3x110 free skate? Well, let's find out. This goes without saying, but at the time of this recording, these are the least expensive 3x110 free skates on the market. They come in at under $200. I was told by the Roces rep that they're going to be $169.99 MAP, so they might kind of fluctuate around that $170 price tag, but that's a steal for these guys. So the whole skate just feels super solid and well constructed. Something that you really don't find in an inexpensive skate. You can tell this by when you get that first roll on them, just the whole thing feels like it's just solid, like one piece. It's quiet, there's no rattling parts, there's no squeaking. It just feels really, really well designed and well put together with some great quality parts. And those great quality parts are the awesome hard shell boot with tons of air vents. I love that to let your foot breathe, as well as that 3x110 frame that's extruded aluminum. It's a solid frame. Speaking of the frame is a bit shorter than the actual Twister skates I have. The Twister skates, I believe, are 256, I think. But these frames on the Egos are 243, which makes the wheelbase quite a bit shorter. And I was kind of skeptical on that at first, but once I got on them, they were so much fun. The mobility that you have almost feels akin to like a 4x80 on a 243 frame. Really fun, but you can get on edge more because you got that taller wheelbase, so you can kind of, it's kind of the best of both worlds. I really like that frame size, it's nice. On top of that, the V cuff is just a must-have and awesome for mobility as well. So put those two things together, the shorter frame and that V-cut cuff, it just makes for great mobility on this skate. I talked about how solid these skates felt and how quiet they were when I first rolled on them. And the reason that surprised me so much was because of how lightweight these skates are. I didn't actually weigh my Twisters compared to these, but I picked them both up and these were considerably lighter, which I could feel while I was skating. They just kind of felt more free and airy. And usually when you have a lighter skate, that means because there's more plastic parts or cheaper parts or, you know, that kind of thing. But that wasn't the case on these. They're just light skates. It was designed well. I think a lot of it has to do with a lot of the plastic that was taken off those air vents. I'm not sure if the aluminum they used was a little lighter or somehow, I don't know, they're just lighter and that's a good thing. The next thing I really liked, the 45-degree cuff has a ratchet system, which is really nice. It's kind of like a snowboard binding. Love that. I have that on my Twisters as well. And the last thing that I think is a plus for these boots, it wasn't quite for me, but they are an average width boot. So I think a lot of people can fit into these boots. For me, I was a little sloppy in them because, you know, my foot's a little more narrow, but the fact that they're average width and low volume, so the actual toe box area is shallower, so you don't have as much up and down movement of your toes or your forefoot, is made it work for me. I don't have to add another insole in to kind of suck up some of that space in the boot. This is, I think, a great compromise. It's gonna let a lot more people into these boots and be skateable with them. All right, so let's get on with the cons. The first con, the straps. They are a bit thin. They just don't feel like they're gonna hold up over time as well. That is something I can't say for sure because obviously I haven't skated them for a long time. That being said, they were fine for my skating. I just would like to see a little bit more heavier duty, beefier straps would be nice. The second con is the buckles. There is some metal pieces in the buckle system, which is good, but the majority of the buckle system is just plastic. While that's probably okay, I just love Roces M12 buckle system with that nice fat metal strap. I just wish that was on these skates. The other thing about the buckle is the top buckle on the cuff doesn't actually lock at all. So I could almost see that getting pulled while you're skating, or over time if the spring wears out, could actually just not pull back and stay back on your side. That's, again, I don't know for sure, but that worries me just a little bit. Another thing that I talked about was the fact that the liners weren't anything to write home about, but the big things about the liners were the tongues were just kind of this floppy, nothing to them. They just kind of folded over on top of themselves. And when I put the skates on and cranked down that ratchet around my cuff, it really just crunched, just kind of got all scrunched up in that front area. And I didn't run into any issues with this being any kind of like pressure points, but I know that there is possibility for pressure points if you don't get that tongue perfect as you're strapping it down. I like a nice firm semi-padded tongue that holds its shape, because when you're flexing forward, that is your forward flex area for your shin. And when there's something just so floppy, it feels like you're feeling the strap more than the full supportive tongue on your shin, and I just really hate that feeling. That being said, it didn't bother me so much when I was skating. It's just a pet peeve of mine. I like my nice stiff, rigid, form-fitting tongues. Another thing is something that I do for every skates, and that is replace right off the bat the laces and the insoles in them. The laces you could probably get by with because you have the 45-degree strap, but the insoles are just real flat, and they just don't feel great. I'm not really knocking them for this. It is a con because could be better, but yeah, when you get these, just expect to grab some insoles that fit your feet well, and deck these things out with some sweet wax talkie laces. All right, so who are these skates for? Well, I believe these skates are for the average width foot skater that wants to get into a 3x110mm free skate on a budget. That's it. They're not for the narrow foot skater or the ultra wide foot skater. I think you can find better skates that fit. They're also not for the skater that has plenty of money and can look elsewhere for a 3x110 skate setup. These skates, for the money, are best bang for the buck, hands down. While this skate leaves a little bit to be desired, it's a great skate. It's a solid 3x110 setup, and it's that solid of a setup at an unbeatable price. I think Roces has done something really amazing here with these skates, because before these, if you wanted to get into a 3x110 setup, you'd be looking to spend at least $250 to $350 to get into some skates. And now with a 3x110 skate setup that's a solid setup for under $200, that's really approachable for a lot of people in the market that can get on some 3x110 skates and really see what it's all about. So good on you, Roces, for making these skates at an unbeatable price that just gets more of our community onto some big wheels. And that's why I'm giving these skates a 3.25 wheels out of 4. Guys, if you have any questions about these skates, please feel free to ask in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get back to every one of you with an answer. If you guys enjoyed this video, you guys know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and make sure you ring that bell so you don't miss any of these uploads. And guys, until next time, just keep rolling.